Hello and welcome to Focus on Liberia. My name is Dennis Ja. We are broadcasting from Atlanta, Georgia. Tonight we'll be speaking with historians from two ethnic groups. We have the history and culture of the Man ethnic group and their contribution to Liberia. That will be followed by the history and culture of the Vi ethnic group. For the Man ethnic group, that is aka Mano, we will be having Dr. Tayo all the way from Providence, Rhode Island. He will be discussing with us the history and culture of the Ma ethnic group and their contribution to Liberia. Dr. Tayo, welcome to Focus on Liberia. Say welcome to all our viewers across the world. Okay, this is Focus on Liberia. We are broadcasting from Atlanta, Georgia. Tonight our topic is the history and culture of the Ma ethnic group. This is in continuation of our ethnic group series to drill in the various ethnic groups of Liberia, to study them, get to know them, and get to know their contribution to the country. Okay, we want to welcome our guest for the Man ethnic group. That's Dr. Tayo from Providence, Rhode Island. He will be joining us by way of video. Time to Focus on Liberia.
Thank you very much. Tonight, our discussion will be a little different from what you have seen in the past from other presenters. As a longtime professor and lecturer at seminaries, colleges, and universities in Africa as well as in the United States, I prefer to present my presentation in the form of a lecture. So we will begin with the Ma people. The initial disclaimer is we do not call ourselves Mano people. We are Ma people. Ma is the name we use for ourselves. Please don't say Mano people. The Mano name is a corruption of the word Ma, and that name was given to us by Kwele people, and the name Ma in the Kwele language, when you say Ma Nu, it means Ma person or Ma people. When we came in touch with the Kwele people many years ago, they referred to us as Manu, Manu, and eventually it develops into Mano. So that's the starter. We are Ma people. Now, from where do we come? And whence do we come? Let me demonstrate that on a little information sheet here. For the sake of our discussion, let's consider this to be the map of Africa. And the map of Africa, this is Liberia right here. And this area from west to east, and then down here from west to east, this whole region is called the Sudan Belt. So the Ma people from the Sudan Belt. This is the Sudan Belt. And we are here in the Nimba region. We come from Nimba County. And in Nimba County, the county itself is divided into two ethnic groups, major ethnic groups, but we do have other ethnic groups in our midst here. We have the Bui people, we have the Kwele people, we have the Basso people, and we have Kram people, and we have Mandingo people. And these ethnic groups that I named make up the population of Nimba County. Now, Nimba County on the left here, you have the Ma population. And on the right here, you have the Dan population. And this is Liberia. Now, on the left hand, the Kwele people are located on the left hand here on the west. And then you have the Bassa people on the west, lower west. And then you have River Sets down here. And down here you have River G people. And further down, the B people live here. And the Crown people live out here. And the Sano County is here. But on the far east, you have Ivory Coast. And on the north side, you have Guinea. That's bounding the different regions that surround Nimba County. A portion of the Ma section here protrudes into Guinea. And in the Guinea area, we have places that the Ma people still live. And you have Nzerikole, you have Lola, and then here you have Yomu, here you have Bela and Mesenta. Now, these are the Ma people within the Guinea region. The Ma people are part of the different ethnic groups in Liberia. Harry Johnson and Westerman decided at some point from their research that there are 4 different types of people that live in Liberia in terms of ethnicity. You have the Mendifu people, and you have the Menditan people, and you have the West Atlantic people, and you have the Kru or Klao people. These 4 groups of people are the people who live in Liberia as a whole. And within this list of 4 types of people or ethnicity, the Ma people are the Mendifu group of people. And the ethnic groups that belong to the Mendifu community are the Loma, the Bandi, the Mendi, the Kwele, the Ma, and Dan. Our languages are similar in some respect. We have a lot of cognates, and cognates are words that sound alike and are pronounced alike. So, for your information, within all these 15 counties in Liberia, Nimba County is the second largest in terms of population. So we make up a large chunk of Liberia. Now, these Ma people, their language, the language we said earlier was Maui. Maui is the language we speak. And Maui is an alternative language speaking people, meaning most of our words are monosyllabic, meaning the monosyllabic words are 1 syllable, not too many syllables. For example, most of our words are 1 syllable. You have mil, ya, se, nya, pe, wo, bon, 1 syllable. Ko, ya, ye, no, ko, 1 syllable. And out here, some of the words like house is ka, cloth is sock, rice, bu, woman, lay, water, ye, pot, bo, sickness, ya, and animal, we. Like yesterday, 3 syllables, but in the Ma language, we have only 1 syllable. Yala, yala. Mountain is stone. So what I'm trying to say is that in our language, a lot of our words have only one syllable. But let's look at another factor in the Man community. This is how we name our children. In our community, we name our children chronologically. Nobody ever has one name. People have 2 names, 3 names, 4 names, and even 5 names. Male children, the first name for most of our children is say, the first child is say. Now, this is the name of the child's, the mother's child, not the father's child, but the mother's child, because a father can have say from different women. But for a woman, the woman has, the first child of a woman is say, male. The second is nya, or you can spell it nya. Or you have pay for the third child. Wo for the 4th child. Zaulo is the 5th child. And Fon is the 6th child. When you come to 6, then you start all over again. Say Peter, Jan Peter. Well, for the women or for the girls, the first female girl in our language by a mother is called, and you see a lot of villages have called, say, nya. These names are repeated, but there is always the second name or the third name. And now the second name is the name of the father, or the second name could be the name of the child himself, his complete name. For example, my name is Nya Kuyawon. Kuyawon is not my father's name. My name is Nya Kuyawon. Then when I went to school, my father's name was added to my name. Then you have 3 names here now. Nya Kuyawon Tayo. Now, after going to the oral society we'll talk about for an education, when you come back, you come as a new person, born again, and you are given another name which supersedes the other names you have had before. So that becomes the 4th name. So naming is very important in our language. The reason why it's important is that whatever name you have, you are expected to live up to that name, the expectation of that name. Say, for example, a child's name is, say, Gonga. Gonga means a strong man, and you are expected to live as a strong person. So with the girls, you have called the first female child, Ya, the second female child, Ye, the 3rd female child, No, or No, is the 4th female child, Ko is the 5th female child, and Fania is the 6th female child. Then, of course, you start naming Opi there, which is second call, and so forth, and so on. You talk about religion. You talk about religion and education. Well, in the Man tradition, like people who are Mendifu, who come from the Mendifu community, our education, we have fraternity and fraternity and sorority. The fraternity group, the men are initiated into secret society. And the secret societies are the Poro for the men and the Sandi for the women. In the Man tradition, the Poro is the second level after circumcision, the second level. Then the 3rd level is Geyomo. After you have been initiated into the Poro to go higher on a master's degree, if you will, is the Geyomo. Now, if you still want to pursue additional credential, you go to Gebuo, which is the bigger or older and larger and higher spirit. Now, Ge, the plural, people usually say devil. It's not devil. There is no word for devil in our language. And in fact, the word that is translated as devil is spirit. Spirit is not devil, Gebuo. In the Pele community, what you have for Gerbuo is called Baminingamui. Baminingamui. It's a longhorn spirit. Now, in terms of religion, we don't have anything called religion. In the Man language, there is nothing called religion. We don't have any dichotomy between a way of life. We perceive life from a holistic standpoint, meaning life is not divided into fragments. It's not divided into fragments. All of life is one and the same. When you make a sacrifice, it's part of the lifestyle. There is no name for religion in the Man language. There is no word for politics in the Man language. There's no word for religion in the Man language. It's all the way of life. So our people perceive life from a holistic perspective. We don't fragment or separate the way of life. So religion is politics, and politics is religion. Now let's look at another dimension of our language. The question is raised whether we have written form of the Man language into book form. Yes, we have certain letters that are uniquely Man letters, say phonetics, if you will. These are letters that are not part of the alphabet in the Western language in English or French, but these are uniquely for our language. This backward E is called E, and this A is actually R, and R is E, and E is A, and this backward C is called O, and this is called B, B, and then you have This can be a word or a letter. Lo, it means me, myself, mine, I. And then is the end with the backward thing. In my language, in the Man language, there is no R. So we use O in the place of R. There is no J. So we use Z. So for example, you want to say John. Our people do not know how to say John. So they say Zon, Zon, because there is no J in the language. Because we don't have R, we use O. But most of us have added R to our names because we want to make it easier for those who are not from the Man culture to be able to pronounce some of our names. There is no C in our language. There is no Q in our language. We use K for Q. And there's no word that ends in S in the Man language. And we do not know how to pronounce R because we don't have R in our language. So for example, if a person is called Lawrence, Lawrence will mean you will have to pronounce the R. So since our people do not pronounce R, they say Lawling. So L then is a substitute for R in regular speech. But in reality, we have no R in the language. Well, we have a few things here that at least we can use as a pointer. If there are other questions that you want to raise, we would like to answer them because we don't have too much time.
Thank you. And if you're watching, this is the history and culture of the Man people. Dr. Tayo has made it explicit that in Liberia we call them Mano people. That is a corrupt way of calling the name Man. So we've talked a few. Dr. Tayo lectured us a few about the Mano or the Man ethnic group. So Dr. Tayo, let's go back to the history. I know you pointed out that we have the Man people in Guinea, in Liberia. Talk to us about the migration. During the migration period, how the Ma arrived in Nimba County, and in Liberia, if we have Ma people in any other place in Liberia.
The Man people, like I said, we are bordered by different counties and different people. and there have been transmigration all over the country. There are a lot of Ma people in the Bassa area, and a lot of Bassas in the Ma area. There are a lot of Ma people in the Kwele area, and Kwele people in the Ma area. But how we migrated from the north, from Upper Guinea, and we came down. What was the reason for our migration? In Africa, many years ago, the land from the north, it was forest land. They had trees, they had valleys, they had vegetation, they have forests, they have grassland, but eventually the land started getting dry, turning into desert area. So if you go north of Liberia, the further north you go, the desert land you see. So then our people migrated either from hunger or because of starvation, or they migrated down into the forest region looking for agricultural opportunity, because when they came down to the region they are now, which was then called the Green Coast, when they got into that area in the 16th century, our people moved into that region in the 16th century. And when they got there, they brought in with them their secret society. They brought in the technology of making baskets, setting traps, hunting, fishing, doing pottery. They brought in a lot of manufacturing things that they could do on a lower scale. And farming was labor intensive. It was not, farming was not capital intensive. They used their hands to do farming. Farming was basically rotational, moving from one area to another and another area, and then allowing this particular area that was harvested this year to rehabilitate or to gain more nutrition so that the following year they can plant there. So it was that kind of farming. And basically we do farming on dry land, and we also do farming in a swamp. So that's the migration. We moved down south seeking for liberty, seeking for freedom. Like the Americo-Liberians came from far away, other countries, America especially, coming to Liberia seeking for freedom and liberty. We also came down seeking for liberty and freedom. Unlike the Mandingo people or Malinke people who came to Liberia not actually seeking for liberty or freedom, but they came as peddlers, they came as traders, they came with businesses, not necessarily seeking freedom.
Let's talk about marriage. How people get married in the Ma ethnic group.
People, individuals, young people go and fall in love, and they see a woman, or a woman sees a man, and they fall in love and get married. But that was not the traditional way of doing things. In fact, men or boys did not speak for themselves. Their sisters or mothers and fathers spoke for them. So courtship time, the father and mother will go and say, well, say those family here, say they are nice people. We want their daughter to marry our son. So they will begin to negotiate. And when they negotiate, eventually they contact the parents of the young lady, and eventually they get to marry. And sometimes in the tradition, kids did not even connect with each other. When a woman was pregnant, a man made proposal for his son. If this child you are going to born is a girl, we want this girl to marry our son. Those kinds of early negotiations were made. Now, there was dowry paid. The dowry was not paid by the parents of the girl. The dowry was paid by the father and the mother of the man or the young boy. Now, dowry was not a payment for the woman. You didn't buy a woman. Nobody bought woman. But the amount of money that was used was indicative of the fact that our child loves your family, and we want this family to be part of our family. A family was never between two people, or marriage was never between two individuals. It was always between two families. My family married into your family, so we become one family. That's how we did it. And the bride price or the dowry was not paid once and for all. It was a continuous payment all through our life. When the parents of the young lady sees the parents of the young boy or the boy, they pay whatever they pay. It could be parts, it could be pens, it could be beads, it could be gun, it could be cloth, whatever it was part of the dowry. And dowry was never paid once and for all.
Dr. Tayo,
Yes.
for those who are not close to the man, are there other sub groups in the Ma ethnic group? And what are some of the groups and what language they speak?
Well, the Man people, if you consider statistics, the project that was called Joshua Project, which was a Christian project, found out that there were 4,600 people living in the Liberian Ma community. And they also discovered that 250,000 Ma people lived in Guinea. And that large population of people, that was conservative estimate. It was in 1995. But nowadays, right now, if you count the number of Man people that live in Guinea and those that live in Liberia, the number will come up to about 900,000 people, excluding those Man people who live outside of Liberia and Guinea. There are lots and lots of Man people living in other parts of the world. And what exacerbated that was the war that's left us in disarray, and we went into all other parts of the world. Now, as far as the other component in terms of the different people who live in our area, we are mixed. Now, let me revisit your question again. I got lost there.
The question here is, are all Ma people the same, or do we have different groups and subgroup of the Ma people?
Well, the Ma people, there's not only one Ma language. We speak the Ma language, but the Ma language has dialects. The language itself is Ma. Ma is not dialect. Don't tell people when they say, what do you speak? You say, I speak Ma dialect. No, your dialect is not Ma. Your language is Ma. But within the Ma area, you have people who come from the north. Their language is different. Their dialect is different. Those who come from the Ganta area, their language, their Ma dialect is different. Those who come from the eastern part of the Ma region, their only dialect is different. For example, people in the north will make expression that people in the center part, the Ganta people or Gompa people, will not say. The example would be someone will say, Kala negbe, yelo bei leke, and yelo bei leke means come down here. Brother man, come down here. But we don't say yelo bei, we say no ze, no bei ze. We don't say yelo bei. And the southern region, some expression will be used like Nala Gekia. Nala Gekia. Now, people in Uganda don't say Nala Gekia. Mother is called Noko. Noko, for us in Uganda or in Gompa, is Noko is mother. But in zan, and other places, they don't use noko, they say na. So the language, it differs sometimes.
Gradually winding down, I want to know what are Ma people known for if you really
No.
look at Liberia?
Well, there are stereotypes. There are stereotypes. And the stereotypes do not go for all Man people. For example, we are noted for eating GB. The Dan people also eat GB. The Man people eat GB. In fact, GB is coming. The question is, what is GB? GB is the food or dish that is prepared from cassava, the storm cassava. You peel it and you chop it, you boil it and pound it in the mortar. And after you pound it, it becomes soft. Well, not very, very soft like fufu, but then you prepare the soup and eat it with it. We are noted for that. And other places in the north, they are noted for eating certain kinds of food. It looks like, well, I think people call it caterpillar, but not all Man people eat caterpillar. But the stereotype is that they eat it, but the fact is not all Man people eat it. So if you hear someone say Man people are noted for eating certain caterpillar, it's not all Man people. It's just a segment of the population.
Let's talk about the Ma people, their contribution to Liberia, because someone defined Liberia as a mosaic where each of us, we fit in that puzzle. So each of us has the ethnic group bring something unique to the whole country, Liberia. What does Ma bring to the table?
Ma people, we have our own technology, but a lot of our people, along with other people that border our region, we have a lot of similarities in culture, and we bring a lot to offer. Most recently, we have discovered, and again, this may sound like a stereotype, and I hope it's not, but there have been some observation made. For example, a lot of people in the Lofa area love to go into the study of medicine. They do medicine. So you have a lot of medical doctors, you have a lot of nurses come from that region. And in the Ma area, for one reason or another, we seem to be more liberal when it comes to politics and certain liberal arts area. Basically, we are more tuned to political landscape, and we have had a lot of our people play a major role in politics. That does not mean that we don't have nurses, we don't have medical doctors. It does not mean that we don't have sociologists, professors, preachers, and so forth. We have them. But the leaning, our people tend to be more tuned to the political spheres.
We draw down the curtains. Let's talk about literature. If there are some parables, proverbs, folklores of the Ma people, please share with us.
They have proverbs. They have wise saying. They have parables. They have all kinds of ways of expressing themselves. In the courts, when the chiefs gather around, sometimes they don't explain things directly, but they put it in the form of a parable to teach lesson. Sometimes they tell us facts in terms of jokes. Sometimes they bring proverbs simply to illustrate something. And we have, like other cultures in our area, used the spider, for example. We have used spider to be a way of teaching our children. And the spider had always personified either goodness or badness. Sometimes we illustrate, we personified certain actions of people so that we can teach lessons. We do have parables. We do have proverbs, uh, like other
Thank
ethnic
you,
groups.
Dr. Tyre. This has been the history and culture of the Man people with Dr. Kiawan Tyre. And in our next segment, we're going to be discussing the history and culture of the Vai ethnic group. But before we leave Dr. Tyre, we want to just hear one for 15 seconds. Dr. Tyre, just your final words.
Well, my final word is that, excuse me, the Man people want to be called Man people. And we don't really appreciate Mano, for people to call us Mano. But it appears that people have said that for so many years, it had become part of Liberia's consciousness. And when they refer to us, in the language itself, we refer to ourselves as Man people. We don't deviate from that. But as soon as we start to speak English, for whatever reason, the word Mano jumps out of our mouths. And if we continue to call ourselves Mano, other people will call us Mano. So I'm sending a request, and a very strong request to all the people of Liberia, especially the Man people, to desist from calling themselves Mano people. We are Man people. And they want to do what the Loma people did. In the past, they referred to them as Buse people. But for some reason, they didn't have to legislate anything. But they call themselves Loma people, and everybody follows suit. And I hope our people will call our people Man people instead of Mano people.
Thank you very much, Dr. Tyre. It's been a pleasure talking with you. And for those of you, if you want to learn more about the Ma people, we have some reference materials, and I will ask, or I will meant to put that on the screen. We have some reference material from Dr. Tyre that you can use for further studies. These are books, magazines, and internet sources that you can use to get more information on the Ma people. So you have the list of books that are there. One from, these are books. And then the next slide, you will see the internet and magazine resources. So for further study, you can contact those. We want to thank Dr. Tyre for that. We want to also thank our viewers. We will now go to a short break, and when we come back, we will have Mr. Oscar Sherman to be our guest on the history and culture of the Vai ethnic group. Just stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Gwazolani na hiweka
Welcome back to Focus on Liberia. We are discussing the history and culture of some Liberian ethnic groups. In our first segment, we discussed the history and culture of the Ma ethnic group. Now we are discussing the history and culture of the Vai ethnic group. With me to discuss that, I have Mr. Oscar Mohammed Bala Shemer. Mr. Oscar Shemer is, I think he's still the current president of the Cape Mount Association right here in Atlanta, Georgia. Mr. Shemer, welcome to Focus on Liberia.
Thank you so much. As you already hear my name, I'm Oscar Mohammed Bala Shemer. And people ask why all these names for. That's my name. I have other names like culture name. Our tradition, they used to call me. But those are...
All right. Welcome back to Focus on Liberia. We are discussing the history and culture of the Vai ethnic group. We started a series on the history and culture of Liberian ethnic groups. So far, we have discussed the history and culture of the Mandingo ethnic group, of the Bassa ethnic group, of the Ma ethnic group, and now we are focusing on the history and culture of the Vai ethnic group. As you may know, the Vai people, they live in Grand Cape Mount County, Liberia. The famous cultural star Fatu Giflo, I believe, is Vai. So, we learned from our history books that one of the first languages to be written in Liberia is the Vai language. With me to discuss the history and culture of the Vai ethnic group is Mr. Oscar Mohammed Bala Shemer. He lives right here in Atlanta, Georgia. He's the president, longtime president, probably president for life, for the Grand Cape Mount Association, the local chapter right here in Georgia. Mr. Shemer, welcome to Focus on Liberia.
Thank you very much. Before I start saying something, let me first greet my Vai brothers and sisters. First, majority of the Vai are Muslim. So I would say, Salamu alaikum ya Jamaat al-Muslimina wal-Muslimat. Sayyidi wa Saadat. Wobedwe Vai. Abe suene na kambe ko bofa sakbawa fo. Alaswa mo buila mo Vai mon ananki wene kambe kwa ko ibonuma na ke muloso. Amma ke muso bombi afa ke na ke muso madano afa njimba afa. As I was saying, I'm invited here tonight to say something about our Vai culture and tradition. So I'm here. The one I know about, my grandfather and father told me, and I've seen or I saw before, I will let you know.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Shemer. And let's just jump into it and just tell a little bit about the Vai culture. I know the Vai people live Cape Mount. And tell a little bit about the Vai culture. What are some of the, how you marry, what you do, the language. You already started speaking it, so that's beautiful. You know, the religion. Just tell a little bit even before we go into it.
The Vai people, when we say marry or religion, as I said, majority of the Vai people are Muslim. And then we marry our way, the tradition way. Like we're from Cape Mount. Like most of the time when you see you are growing up, like my father told me before, when I didn't tell him I wanted to get married, but he used to tell me, say, if you want to get married, the first thing you do is to make a patch, cassava patch. You start from start to end. If that cassava grow up and you dig that cassava, they will know that you're getting ready to marry. Or you stay with your father and mother, you make farm from start to end, and they harvest that farm, you're getting ready to get married. Or if you can buy, or they used to burn kerosene, if you can buy kerosene for your renter from the first of the month to the end, you're really getting ready to marry. And how we're getting married is like if you see somebody or your father sees somebody, sometimes you don't choose the woman you want to get married to. Your father or mother will see somebody and say, I want for my son to marry your daughter. Talk to the parent. If the parent agree, that person will be like, less than 10 years or 10 years, and before she get to 14, 15, you start doing something for the parent. That is, you go in the bush, sometimes you cut wood, or you go hunt, whatever you get, you carry to the parent. So that's the foundation that you are laying for that person like me, you're getting ready to marry. Or your father will choose somebody for you. Or somebody will tell your father, you and I been friends for years. So my daughter, I like your son. My daughter will marry your son. Or your father will tell him, I want for my son to marry your daughter. So that's how it starts. Or which called something Sunday society. The Sunday society for several tribes in Liberia, starting with Vai, Gola, Mende, Loma, Pele. Those are the people that are deeply involved in the Sunday society. Sometimes they take the child in the Sunday bush for 3 to 4 years. And by that time, she already turned 16. When they come out, they graduate, you're getting ready to marry that person. So, and then at that time, not now, at that time, you get ready to pay $48, our dollar, $48 to marry your wife or wife to be. If you can afford, or your parent can afford to buy, obviously buy something called suitcase or valise, you put clothes in it, then you're getting ready to marry that person. So those are the steps that you take if you're really getting ready to marry. If you can afford.
So you see, you already said most of the Vai people are Muslim. In most ethnic groups in Liberia are Christian. How the Vai people? How we got plenty Muslim in the Vai? How did that get started? If you remember.
Oh, before those days, my father told me, my grandfather said, "What a Madingo that went to Liberia, and the Arab people, they traveled, they went to Cape Town, Lofa, Bombay, and Cape Town. There where they want to settle. And they married some of our mothers, sisters, aunties, and they introduced the religion to us. And we get into that religion. But when time goes by, we found out that the Madingo tribe, sometimes they will marry your daughter or your sister. And when they start getting kids, children, female, you, the Vai man, cannot marry the Madingo man daughter. But the Madingo man marry your daughter or your father or your sister, whoever from your family. But they refuse to start, for us to get married to their children. But we're already in this Islam, and we get used to praying. When I grew up, I saw my grandfather praying, my father, my mom, my entire family. So my father told me that you're going to learn Arabic, Muslim, you're going to be a Muslim. So I left my father, my mother, they sent me somewhere else on Bopula Highway to go learn. And there I stay until I finish the Quran. Even before starting ABC in school.
Yeah.
So now we start spreading that religion to the rest of the family.
Right. And because as you said, the people from the Mandingo ethnic group lived there, and they were originally Muslim. So that's how the religion and being, intermarrying, so it got. So there must be like the two culture could be similar because the other Muslim went other places, but Islam took roots in Cape Town. I think because of the culture may be similar. You think so?
Yeah, the culture, we have similar culture. The Madingo, the Vai, the Mende, and the Gola. We have similar culture. So because of that culture, they marry our sisters or mothers. But I mean, the only thing we can't marry you can't marry Madingo woman.
Maybe your speed not too heavy, that's why.
but now things change. But
Right.
before then,
it was,
you will not see a Madingo man daughter married to Vi man. The same thing, the Vi people too used to say this person, something they call Lumon. If you want to marry Pele woman, then the parent will ask you, why you want to marry to Lumon? That means, or like somebody from different tribe, you have to marry Vi woman. So it was like family business. You married somebody from your family or from the town, from Cape Mount. But you can't get married to somebody from the Pele tribe or Grebo.
Okay. And I understand, but you can marry your invite. Do you marry your cousin, second cousin?
Or actually, cousin is not like a cousin. The Vi people, because the Madiba people introduced that to us, the Vi people used to marry like my mother brother. If you have girls, from the mother side, and a girl from my uncle, I can marry her.
Let's talk about the Vi traditional songs and dance. I know Princess Fatu Gavela being one of someone who music from the Vi. So talk to me about the traditional songs, the cultural dances, and everything of the Vi ethnic group.
See, the Vi people, those days, I think the Vi and the Gola were the best dancer in Liberia.
You think so?
Yes.
All right.
And then, because they were involved in the culture, something they call Polo Society. I'm a member of the Polo Society. I went to the Polo Society, I danced, and before going to school, I formed my own group. I danced the tall devil, and the devil they call Frisky devil. I danced all the devil. I danced, and I started teaching people how to dance. So we used to love culture dance. That people invite us to go perform places when they're having feasts. We go there. But if you're going anywhere to go dance, the people who among you are not Polo Society member, it's embarrassing. That when you go to the town, your friend, your age group, they will sit there and your age group will tell you, I'm smelling sinner. That means they're talking to you. Because you are not Polo Society, you are not member of the Polo Society, you are not graduate from the Polo Society. And when they keep saying that, you feel embarrassed. And once they have the Polo Society in this district or this town, you go there, you have to be among the women. Because always you have to be among the women. You can't go among your friends.
Because you're not a member.
Because you are not a member of the Polo Society.
What are some of the songs that you sing, and what's the meaning, or what's the whole theme about those songs and the dances you have? Do they have some cultural meanings to them?
Or they have meanings for some of those songs. Like some of the songs will say, even if I will marry you until I can find a husband. I try make I fit. They are different songs.
Right.
Or if you going, may God bless you. There was a singer in Grand Cape Macan they call Bondokai. And most of the Vi songs are like parable.
Okay.
All have meaning. They will sing a song. And if you listen to it, don't just listen to the drum, dancing, but listen to the meaning. The lead singer, all the songs you will sing will have parable. So most of the song that I can't sing it here because you don't know the meaning. But some of the songs I can still think about it. Like I used to dance, and there are certain songs, and the Vi people, their song mixed up with the Mende. The Mende people came, we all used to perform, dance culture. So most of their songs, when you dancing, they sing those songs. You dance on. So and they have different
Right.
song. Vai people.
The Vai, are they, I know there are Vai people in Sierra Leone as well, and then Cape Mount.
Yeah.
Do you understand the Vai people in Sierra Leone? You speak the same thing, or is it different?
One good thing about the Vai, since I speak Vai well. I speak Vai very well. And I understand the Vai. Vai, they don't have this Vai, that Vai. You go to Pokpa district, you have Gola and the Mende, but they speak Vai. You go to Tiwa district, they speak Vai. You go to Gaula district, they speak Vai. You go to Gola Kone district, they speak Gola and Vai. Then you go to Tombe district, they speak Vai.
Those are all in Cape Mount?
Grand Cape Mount, and those are the districts.
Okay.
And I travel in all the districts. I've been to Sierra Leone. The border with Liberia, that area, the people speak Vai and Mende.
The same as you speak?
Yeah. So when you cross to Liberia, like Popa district, you speak Mende and Vai. Then when you cross to Sierra Leone, they speak Mende and Vai. But the Vai, only one Vai. If Vai may tell you, somebody ask somebody, what tribe? The person say, I'm Vai. You will know where he from. Only from one country. Vai people from Grand Cape Mount County only. So and there's something people used to say about Vai people. Like we argue on up to now, the Vai man lazy. That's one of the things I don't understand.
Right, that stereotype.
Yeah. Since I was born in Liberia, I grew up in Liberia. I came to Monrovia to go to school. I have never seen any bag of a single bag of rice in store from Bon County, from Maryland, from anywhere. So we all make fun. Like all the educated people from Grand Cape Mount County, they were educated by their parents. They sent them to school. And the reason people say Vai make lazy is that our brothers and sisters that came from the United States, they went home, they got them returning. The American Liberian. You know, the Vai men, I'm not saying they are the only clean country, but Vai, if you count the clean countries in Liberia, Cape Mount will come, yes, number one, not even number two, I would say number one. And the Vai women, the most beautiful women you can find in Liberia will be among the Vai. The most dressed woman, our culture, the way we dress the African, the Vai people. When you come to Vai men, when they say dressing, it will be the Vai men. It happened that we even have a shirt called Vai shirt. Vai shirt. So, if the men we call Congo, they wanted for the Vai people, they left from here, they wanted to be using, this is why it's very hard for you to see somebody come and say Vai Congo. Because we refuse to be John. Like they call all their seven John. Vai men refuse to be John. And I come from work on my farm, take shower, clean myself and sit down in front of my house. Then you Congo man, with some kind of old shoes, go to me. You have seen me already clean. You will never ask me to go work in your garden. That's for sure. So, they have the notion of Vai men lazy. We're not lazy. We just clean people.
Oh, okay. So what you mean is the Vai person comes from the farm, dress up and is clean.
Clean.
So you can ask them to go.
You dress. I'm dressed more than you. You can't ask me to go work on your garden. No way.
So as a result, you use that
I'm
stereotype. Yeah, stereotypes are almost every ethnic group in Liberia is being stereotyped. And one of the reasons why we have this show is to dispel those stereotypes so we know the true story behind them. And one reason that stereotype they say Vai people listen is when they are when they are passing, they say the Vai people make small farms.
And that small farm will not educate your child. You eat. You know, you all know that Vai people produce most of the educated people in Liberia. Some were lawyers. Some were doctors. How they were educated?
Right.
Where they got the money from? Vi men work hard to educate their children. They send us to go learn, like me, I went and learned both English and Arabic.
Right.
And before my father passed, I finished the Quran already. I was in elementary, but I tried my best to. I had scholarship to go to school. My mom was a market woman. She used to make market. My father used to work for the Liberia Money Company in Birmingham. So when he died, we left alone and we were trying. We are not lazy people. I was sitting here. There's no trap in the bush that I don't know how to. I even went ahead and design my own work, grabbing animal. I said tribe. I hunt.
All right. Let's go to sports and first let's start with the food that Vi people. What is the major food among the Vi people?
I think the Vi people food have become the stable food in Liberia. I was so. When you say Vi kosher, the first thing you think about is cassava leaf. So we eat cassava leaf, potato green, bella bus soup, okra sauce, and palava sauce. But cassava leaf comes first.
Right. And what's up with that Vi kosher? They said a lot of Vi people go into cooking.
Vi people, as I said, Vi people, they know how to cook, they know how to dress. There was no kosher. We used to call it kosher. There was no kosher in Liberia. Even if the Madingo men open a kosher, if you don't put a sign Vi kosher, nobody coming to your kosher. You can't say Madingo kosher. Nobody want to eat peanut soup. And you can't say global kosher. Then you finish. Nobody will come to you. There was no way you can say Basa kosher. The only kosher people used to see, you go Watersa, you go Dwala, Pinsray, the Vi kosher. The man would be, the person that cooking there would be Gribble. But you have to put Vi kosher. That's son. We were to set out a trade back today, but they were using it, Vi kosher, to make business.
Right.
You know, I know.
Just like Trump Tower. So
Trump Tower. It was a Trump Tower in Liberia. Everybody can attest to that.
All right. Yeah, I saw a lot of Vi kosher, but I didn't realize that not all of them were Vi people.
They were not Vi. So you have to use that Vi kosher for people to buy
your food. Okay, so let's talk about some sports and some games that we play in among the Vi people. I know most of the games that are popular now in the sports, but we have our own traditional sports and games.
The sport we play, something I don't know the name.
Say in Vi, that's fine.
They call it kokpo. People used to play when they come from work and you sit down under the tree. A group of men, they play the stuff. That's a game everywhere. You go to Cape Town, Upper Cape Town, Tewa District, Pokpa, everywhere. And then there are people who used to gamble. They play those things to gamble. But if you want to play for fun, you play a different way.
Kokpa.
Yeah. But beside that was just dancing, because dancing, culture dance is sport.
Right.
So we're deeply involved in dancing culture.
Right. We, I think the first original script in Liberia is the Vi script. I don't know if you can, maybe you have, and that was introduced in, I think, 18 something by Momolu Dualu Bokele, if you remember. Tell me what you know about the Vi script.
If that man was still living, we would call him Dr. Momolu.
Yeah.
But those days, they just call your name. I didn't learn it. As I'm sitting here, I even trying to find people, sponsor, to join me to start teaching that vast pressure in schools in Grand Cape Town County. I'll be willing to be paying maybe few teachers. We can contribute to pay them. You see, it's very important because in Liberia, I think the vast scripture is only scripture you don't have ABC from A to Z. Sometimes when you look at it, you will say, oh, maybe this is Chinese writing. It's not Chinese writing, the Vai people. All the other tribe, they have that. But when you look there, you will see something from A to Z. You will see either B, C, or D, or Z, M, L. But for the Vai, strictly, there's nothing in there like A, B, C, D, nothing. If you spell Mama, when you see the Mama, there'll be no M, no O. Vani, those are the Vai tribe.
Right.
I mean, Vai names we have.
Talking about Vai names, how you name your children? Like other ethnic groups will do that, the boys' children, or the way they come, their ranking. How Vai people name their children too?
Vai, like we have the last name. We have different last name in Grand Cape Bankani. You have the family, you have Kiazulu, you have Zodua, you have Mende Masa, you have Masakoi, you have Kiadi, you have Soni, and you have Pusawa, like you call Pusawa, you got Pusawa, you got Kroma, yeah, you get Kroma, you get all the last names. If I have a child, my firstborn, I would talk to my wife. I want us to name my father or my grandfather. He was a warrior. So, and this boy, I think he had to be a strong man too. So I want to name my grandfather. Or we name your grandfather, or we name your father. Or somebody, like any man that come in, or female, if they're gay, any female that go in at a delivery room and take that child and bring them out, first, that the person name, you're going to use. So anytime, anything that person doing when she or he growing up, they say, yeah, the person that brought it out, like Jeha, she used to be, like Jeha used to be. So you name your uncle, like me, I named my uncle. My first son was my uncle name, because my uncle was strong man. When I saw my son, he was a baby, the first day he was born, I looked at him and I said, this guy is going to be a strong man.
Right.
So we call him Ali. And Ali is a strong person.
Right. So in Vai, you name the children after people in your family, or
your family,
after someone?
Yeah, or someone.
All right. If you are just joining us, we are talking about the history and culture of the Vai ethnic group. And if you are watching on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter, please send us your questions, or you can call in and be part of the conversation. This is a discussion on the history and culture of the Vai ethnic group. And we want all of you to just join the topic. We can put on the number to call if you want to call studio, ask a question, or make a contribution. Doesn't have to be a question, but it can be a contribution. Someone here wrote that one major contribution from the Vai people is the Vai shirt. Are you proud of that, I guess?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. That Vai shirt. I used to do sewing. I used to design. Those of you you have seen me, you saw me in Clareton, Varton, or Cape Man. I think that's what I was doing first. So I used to sew Vai shirt, something called Buba, style, some people call Nigerian style. So, but Vai shirt, everywhere, people, in fact, Pele man, Madingo man, Loma man, Global man, everybody start using that Vai shirt. Can you show me a Vai shirt? There was nothing in Liberia called Global shirt, Pele shirt.
Right.
So only Vai shirt. Vai kosher, Vai shirt, and the most beautiful women, Vai.
Vai women.
The most African dressed women, Vai.
All right.
If you want for somebody to cook for you, those days, I don't know about the 1990 Vai. Because things changing. From 1990, that's why I told my mom, I said I don't want to marry anyone close to 1990. I say, okay, I cook. Like me, I know how to cook. The only person that can cook more than me will be my mother. I used to challenge my wife. Because I learned how to cook.
And she Vai woman.
She Vai. But I used to challenge her.
Okay.
So Vi share is popular in Vi. That's the most respectful share I have ever seen in Liberia. Vi share.
Okay. Question here. Someone say, Jedley Stephen Kinney say is interested. How can I be a part of this project? Which project you referring to? Maybe we can get more clarity on that. But so, and there are other questions right here. And they said when you say Pusawa, they say that's a Pele name.
No, Pusa.
Oh, Pusa, not Pusawa.
Not Pusawa.
Oh, okay.
Pusa.
And what does that mean?
That's last name.
Oh, okay.
That's in Tommy district.
All right. Other people from different ethnic groups are challenging that Vi women are the most beautiful. But I believe you. You don't have to defend it.
Yeah.
I believe you. Let's talk about, if you know some stories that you used to tell in the villages, or some folklore, or if you have some Vi heroes and warriors that you heard about that your grandfather told you. Because sometimes the African stories will kind of tell a story, or what are some of the Vi stories and what they talk about?
My grandfather was a warrior. He showed me things that weapon that he used to fight. And I asked him, who you used to fight? I mean, you have Gola and Vi, Mende. Who you used to fight? So there are people who just wage war on the town and say we are going to fight them. There was no gun. They would take cutlasses, knife, bow and arrow to come and fight. And I was like, I mean, that time I don't know much about war. I don't know why they fight. And he said some can start from land. Like you make farm here. If my town have this area, you're not supposed to come and make farm here. You're from that town or from that chiefdom. So those things bring war. They will start fighting. We're going there to get them out. And if you're going with weapon. And they too, they come in with their cutlasses and knife to fight. So those are sometimes people like when I was growing up used to do it. You want to show your strength to your friend. They will be walking. And sometimes you call your friend, he's telling Didi Domao. Oh my God. If you tell somebody Didi Domao, and then he walking going, that means he's lazy. So nobody want to be lazy. You want to come back. And the friends are there, they will encourage you guys to fight. So my grandfather used to say that he used to fight that way, and he carried me where they keep the
prisoners,
war prisoners. And he said, this hole, we put people here. This house was like an old foundation. This is our house. We call it jail. But we used to keep a war prisoner here, and they stay here until they die.
Let's, the Vi people are bordered by other ethnic groups like the Gola, the Mende. Normally, we refer to other ethnic groups different way how they refer to themselves. So for you, how the Vi people call the Gola, the Mende, the Pele, and all these people around them?
In Cape Town, in Cape Town, we don't have Pele. We have Gola, Mende, and Vi. But the Mende, the Vi men refer to Mende men as rascal. That they don't credit Mende men. If you credit Mende men and the Mende men tell you, Beyangoiwa, because I understand the Mende too, I will pay you when my brother come. Not a brother. That brother will never come. And the Vi man used to say the Gola people don't give people water to drink. And then when the Gola man tell you, say this place is not far, that means it's far. Those are the things. But beside that, There was no big problem between the Vai, Mende, and Gola.
All right. We have a caller on the line. We have a caller on the line. Caller, your name and where you calling from?
Go ahead. Caller, you live.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I am Jeffrey from Minnesota.
Go ahead, sir.
I want to ask my brother the question. You know, put a yellow shirt, yellow and black.
Yeah.
That's a Vai shirt.
Yeah. Okay, thank you so much, my brother, Mr. Varman. I don't know your name, but I call you Mr. Varman.
Oh, yeah, I love that name.
Yeah, I want to know. Okay, I want to know that you and the Mandingo people have similar religion. Do you both pray in the same mosque? Or say you are allowed to marry your sister, your daughter, your auntie. Why can you people tell them you want to marry from that tribe too? That's my question.
All right. Thank you so much. Oscar, do you and other ethnic group of the Muslim faith pray in the same mosque?
Your answer, let me answer your question. That's a good question. When you say Muslim and mosque, there is no mosque owned by a particular tribe or a group. Even if you're passing by here and it's time for you to pray, you go in that mosque. If you clean, you can't come from using the bathroom and enter that mosque. Or you can't come from your girlfriend's place to enter that mosque. But once that mosque was built to pray, it don't have to be Mandingo mosque, it don't have to be Vai mosque or Mende mosque. Mosque, we pray together. Because the Quran is one. We only have one Quran, one God. So you Mende man, you Mandingo, you Vai, we pray together. The only thing, if you the imam, you have to be a well-learned imam. You have to know the Quran. And you know the various surah in the Quran to read. If you don't know that, you can't stand in front of us to pray. So Mandingo man, Vai man, we pray in the same mosque.
Thank you. And on the question of marriage, I think that question has been addressed.
Yeah.
Right.
The Mandingo, they marry our women. But for you to go and marry Mandingo woman, it was not easy. If you're different tribe, you asking me that question. You experienced that before 1990. After 1990, things changed. It's changing. But before then, for different tribe, you parliament to marry Mandingo woman or marry Fula woman, it never used to be. They were not. But they will go and marry Pele woman. They will go and marry Mandingo Vai woman.
Right. Maybe your speed not strong. So, yeah, we had someone from the Mandingo ethnic group explain that because of their requirements, number one, they want you to be Muslim. Number two, there are other requirements. So if you can meet that, but then you can marry them. So
the requirement was not that expensive. Cola.
No.
The 10 cola.
Islam is number one.
Yeah, you have to be Muslim. You have to be Muslim. And even if you're Muslim, you imam. I haven't seen any imam just walk to the Mandingo and say, I want to marry your daughter. I didn't see any imam in Cape Man marry Mandingo woman.
All right. There are other questions here concerning one from Dr. Amos Bai and another from Mr. Dave Jai asking, why do we have plenty of Vai people being Muslim? How have the Vai people come to embrace the Islamic faith so much?
Because the Vai people, Vai from the beginning, the Christianity didn't travel. The Christian didn't travel to Cape Man. Some slave from here settled in Robertsport and Tala Town, where they used to have that base for World War II. So, but from there, going Upper Cape Mount, they were all Vai people, and they embraced Islam. So you find majority up to 1990, they were Muslim. But now people here are saying that their father was Imam, and when they came to the United States, they changed to Christian. They changed, they are Christian now.
So, and the follow-up to that question I read here is, so with the Vai predominantly being Muslim, how has that affected your relationship with other Liberians that are of the Christian faith?
There was no problem with Vai people getting along with Christian. I think in Liberia as a whole, we never have problem with religion. We never have problem until maybe 1990 people accuse people of being Mandingo, people of being Muslim. But before then, we play. We even if you don't marry Christian or you don't marry Muslim, but we still used to be together. We talk together, we joke, we work together.
Okay, can you hold on, please?
It was just like the Barrow and I. Your girl can be I and you Barrow and you still live together.
All right.
So there was no problem.
Okay. We have a caller on the line.
Okay, go ahead, caller. Your name and where you calling from?
Oh, this is Bishop Amos. I left the studio a few days ago.
Go ahead, Bishop Ba. Your question or comments?
How you doing?
Good.
Can I go with my question?
Yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
Yes. I think I made a comment and sent it to you as well. But you know, besides, yes, I'm coming on. Besides my Bata language, one of the main languages I love is Vai, and because Vai man was the one who taught me how to sew, and that's why I'm a professional tiller. But what I want to ask is a simple question. Most of the Vai people, they are professional tillers. Since they and the Mandingo people have similar religion or so on, and the Mandingo people introduce certain things to them, and they embrace it. Is this the same with the tailoring? Do they learn how to sew from the Mandingo as well?
All right. Thank you. Oscar, the Vai people, according to the comments here, also they are known for tailoring. Did you learn it from the Mandingo as well? That's the question.
Actually, when I started sewing, I didn't learn from Mandingo.
Now you, people before you.
Yeah, people. No. Most of the Vai people I saw them in Liberia sewing, they didn't learn it from Mandingo. Not only Mandingo. Mandingo, actually, the not that many Mandingo was sewing. The Fulani was sewing.
Right.
They were the tailors in Liberia. Mandingo people sew too. And the Vai people. But I didn't see any Vai man, since I was living in Liberia, I didn't see any Vai man went to Mandingo man to learn how to sew.
All right. Our callers and viewers, Thomas and YG, I don't see your question, so if you can call in, please, or you post your question. But we are trying to draw down the curtains again. Our listeners, we are discussing the ethnic group, the Vai people. That's the history and culture of the Vai ethnic group. And with me is Mr. Oscar Mohammed Bala Shemer. He's the president of the Grand Cape Mount Association of Georgia. He's been there how many years now? It looks like a lifetime.
No, I left. I'm leaving.
Okay, but you're still there. The people say they want you, so they are voting for you. So, if you still have questions, but we are winding down, the history and culture of the Vai ethnic group. So, Mr. Sherman, if you have one last thing to say concerning the Vai people, so we can wrap this thing up.
Yeah, I will say this to most of our women, because and the respect for Vai people. Those are the culture. Those are our tradition. When you marry, you obey your husband. You work together. And if you are a child, that before then, when you have a gathering or meeting, the Vaipio call it lasso or nyobeng, and you sit here and you know an older person coming, don't sit there. Wait until everybody be seated. Then you can find a place to sit. That will go in 1990 way. And before then, our women, our daughters, sisters, they have to wait until that 16 years, 17 before they get married, even before they touch men. And if you marry, the husband got to tell your parent, yeah, I met her there. When they say I met you there, that means nobody ever touched you before. It is a shame before then, when somebody touched you before you get married, and the husband go find out that when I touched your daughter, she already crossed the river. I didn't cross her. It was a shame. I don't know if we can bring the tradition back, we can bring the culture, our people, that respect. I don't know if we can bring it back. But since 1990, I never heard somebody, we are giving this child to this man. It's a new, she's virgin. Let me call it sure she's virgin.
The men too never used to cross the river, or that only the women?
No, the men you have to learn first before you have to learn how to cross somebody, So those things, we still have to follow our people, that respect.
Okay. Thank you so much. And if you are joining us, we are drawing down the curtains. This is the history and culture of the Vai ethnic group and their contribution to Liberia. Our guest is Mr. Oscar Shemon. He is from Grand Cape Mount County, Vai. And we're very pleased to have you. Thank you so much for your time, Mr. Shemon.
Thank you very much.
And to our viewers online watching through Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter, we want to say thank you so much for watching and your contribution. Focus on Liberia. We're here to promote, elevate, and educate all things Liberia. We are sustained through the generous donation from viewers like you, through our ads and other things. That's how we are sustained. So if you are out there and want this to continue, please don't hesitate to drop us a line. Our address, focusonliberiamarketing@gmail.com, or you call the phone number that we're going to post shortly, so that you can talk to us. If you have suggestions or you have things you want to appear on the show, please don't hesitate to contact us. We are here. We are on YouTube. We are on Facebook. We're also on Twitter. Right now, we're going to, before we end, we're going to go to a short commercial. We have the Coalition for Justice. They have their program coming up in California. That's the Center for Justice and Accountability. They have a program coming up on March 9, 2018 at 6 p.m. That's in Oakland, California. You have some human rights lawyers. Your keynote speaker will be Mr. Hassan Bilete. There's also another program coming up right here in Atlanta, Georgia. That's the Episcopal Elementary and High School. They're going to be having a raffle draw. It's happening right here in Atlanta, Georgia. Proceeds from that draw will go towards the, helping the schools back home in Liberia. That's a raffle draw. That's March 24th at 11 a.m. It's going to take place right here in Atlanta, Georgia, or Metro Atlanta, Georgia. So we want to thank you all again for watching Focus on Liberia. From all of us here, I want to say thank you to our studio manager, Evangelist Patrick Ansa. I want to say thank you to our producer, Mrs. Yasendi Martin Kweye, our guest relations manager and product engineer, Mrs. Stephanie Setro. Until then, my name is Dennis Jar saying so long. God bless and good night.
Backyard.